Hi guys and welcome back to our channel, where we recap and explain your favorite movies for you. We have been going through the pandemic situation for almost 3 years now. But imagine a virus that is deadly, not dangerous, that too manifold of what we have gone through. To take you through such a journey, we welcome you to our review of the first episode of super hit season called The Last of Us, which got released just about a week ago. So without wasting any time, let's begin. The first scene of the first episode takes us to 1968, where there is an interview going on between two doctors and an interviewer with the audience. Dr. Newman is telling the audience about a virus in Madagascar, which is similar to influenza and could spread through people when they cough, and there is also a risk of it getting carried on planes and resulting in a global pandemic. This reminds us of the corona times that we went through ourselves. Anyways, continuing the story. The other doctor seems pretty chill and lightens up the environment by saying that humans have been facing pandemics and even actual wars for a long time and humans have always won. He also explains how fungi are more harmful than viruses. For instance, some fungi do not pose the threat of killing but controlling, since some types can alter mind and behavior. He goes on to list how fungi affect a human, to an extent of a person becoming the fungi's puppet. He also explains that the drug, LSD, is made up of fungi, meaning controlling and bending the mind. Dr. Newman then discusses that fungi cannot survive inside humans since they have a temperature that does not provide fungi with their optimum conditions. The other doctor counters his opinion and makes him aware of the possibility of fungi mutating and the world temperature evolving. It might just be a matter of a single gene mutation. If such a condition arises, there might not be any cures, treatments, or precautions for this deadly disease. We are then taken to 2003, where we meet Joel and Sarah, a father and his daughter. Sarah, who is a teenager, wakes up in the morning and cooks breakfast. Joel joins her and she asks him about the pancake mix. She wanted to make some for her dad since it was his birthday. They are then having breakfast at the table where Joel reveals his age too. Tommy, Sarah's uncle, is there too. Sarah notices a knife in her father's drawer and looks concerned. She goes to school and on her way back, she stops by a repair shop to get a watch repaired. The woman in the shop hastily asks her to leave and shuts down the shop. Sarah is confused. There have also been many announcements by the police going on in order to encourage not leaving home without a cause. Sarah notices how the police are so active these days, but does not know why. We then catch the father and daughter at night, where she gives him a birthday present, his favorite movie. They watch the movie together and Sarah sleeps after a while after making him promise to bring a cake tomorrow. During the movie, Joel receives a call from Tommy to get him bailed since he beat up someone who was harassing a woman. Upon being informed, he leaves right away, leaving Sarah behind, alone after tucking her into her bed. Sarah wakes up in the middle of the night and goes around the house, but there is nobody home. She gets a bit scared and goes to her neighbor. What she sees there is unbelievable. There was blood on the floor, and upon following the marks, she saw her old neighbor. Adler had bitten a man's shoulder and was ingesting his hair too. She runs outside when Adler starts following her. Joel and Tommy are already there to rescue her. Joel shoots Adler and she dies. There are some other people doing the same too, biting human shoulders, and almost a bloodbath right over the bodies. Apparently, there is an outbreak in the city and they are left with no other option than to drive away in order to leave town. But it seems impossible since the highways are blocked and the disease has spread all over the city, with several people running around with bitten shoulders and chasing after the others. In this chaos, Joey's car gets into a clash while trying different routes to move out of the city, and Sarah gets hurt there. They wake up to the police gunning down those who are sick. In short, it's chaos. A policeman mistakes Sarah and Joel as sick and shoots at both of them. Joel is not injured, but Sarah gets shot and is apparently dead. The episode brings us to Boston in 2023, at a place that looks destroyed and abandoned. A kid is seen walking on the streets and then falls down. He is then taken to a hospital by a Fedra member. Fedra is one of the last remnants of the pre-outbreak United States government, alongside the Department of Defense and the Center for Disease Control. On the other hand, we see the old Joey with a group that is throwing dead bodies into the fire. The environment of that place is so dull and destructed. They also have their fabric masks on while doing so. The situation there is heartbreaking, as if the aftermath of a war. Joel deals with a Fedra officer to get a truck in exchange for providing him drugs. The officer is dealing with some anxiety and trouble sleeping after killing 5 people. The frequent mentions of the outbreak tell us that this era is definitely a post-epidemic era where things seem destructed. We then meet Tess, who is kidnapped in a room due to a fight over some reasons that seem personal. She is also extremely wounded in the face with her eyes and lips swollen and red. A man, Robert, had stolen the money that she gave him to buy a battery. But she almost has the problem resolved. The room then suddenly gets blasted due to a fight between Fedra and another party. Gunshots are heard in the streets and Tess is trying hard to escape. This explains the intensity of the matter. The police then arrest her and she makes mention that she is not a firefly. The scene changes where there is a teenager, Ellie, held captive for unknown reasons and is screaming in order to get out but has no luck. She tells them that Fedra would come looking for her. Coming to Joel, he goes to meet a man who seems to be the only one in town to have a phone since he has a crowd outside his office of people waiting for their turn. Joel goes to him in order to inquire about Tommy, who has not responded to him in 3 weeks, and that is worrisome for his brother since this has never happened before. After some interrogation and argument, he gets the satellite address from that man and takes the matter of finding Tommy into his hands. After spending a day at the federal lockup, Tess gets back to Joel at his house. Upon seeing his worn-out face, he asks her what happened, but she does not tell him the truth. Instead, she says that it was done by some teenagers who must have been born after the outbreak. She tries to calm Joel down about the situation with the battery and money and convinces him to find Tommy in a calm manner. We then also find Marlene being accused of having baseless targets that have resulted in 4 lost lives. Her team is confused and concerned about whatever is happening. She explains to them that they are in a war against the military dictatorship to restore democracy and freedom. The two parties are apparently Fedra and Firefly, fighting against each other. They commit to fighting against Fedra and are ready to give whatever it takes. Marlene then comes and sits down and has a polite talk with Ellie. Ellie tells her that she is an orphan and was just a kid when she was forced to join Fedra school. Marlene tells her that she has nowhere to go and she will get killed if she tries to get out. Marlene then tells her a secret and tells her to never reveal it to anyone. She also tells her that they are leaving tonight since she has a purpose bigger than the others. Tess and Joel go to Marlene's building where there are many dead bodies around. They meet Marlene and Ellie there. They realize that she is the woman Robert screwed them over with. They ask Marlene the reason for her needing the batteries and point the gun at Ellie. Ellie, on the other hand, is behaving very rudely and aggressively but knows her limits when has a gun pointed at her. To this, Marlene asks Joel to point at her, not at Ellie. Joel accuses her of turning his own brother against him. Marlene tells them that they are smugglers and Ellie is the cargo. Marlene's running away plan fails with Fedra being 5 minutes away. Marlene asks Joel to safely take Ellie to her crew at the old state house and get a truck and whatever more he needs from there as an exchange. Joel and Tess, after discussing that even though they do not trust Marlene, she does sound desperate, they agree. Ellie is hesitant, but Marlene tells her that she is all that matters and that her crew will never jeopardize that. After spending some time together and quarreling in their house, they set out toward the crew at night, secretly and cautiously. They get caught by the same officer who got drugs from Joel and attacks Ellie. Joel has a flashback of him and his daughter when the police attack them. In a rage, Joel fights him off and simultaneously, Tess checks her and reveals that Ellie is sick too, but she explains this was 3 weeks earlier and people usually do not survive more than a day with this condition. On hearing the siren, they move forward in a rush and the episode ends here. We love sharing our thoughts with you and listening to yours as well. The Last of Us has been labeled by several critics as the greatest video game adaptation of all time, and it certainly has some big shoes to fill up against Arcane Castlevania and Cyberpunk Edge Runners. The first episode, however, gets off to a good start by accurately reproducing the original material and elaborating on other topics that weren't entirely obvious in the games. The girl character Ellie reveal is the only thing we don't like about this. The reveal that Ellie is the cargo Joel needs to take and that she is immune to infection, which is essentially revealed at the end anyway, hits much harder than the scene in which Marlene tells Ellie that she is important before cutting hard off-screen feels much less impactful than the way it is delivered in the game. Beyond that though, this chapter has a really good flow, and you can truly understand why it was cut from 10 to 9 episodes. It is obvious that this is essentially 2 episodes combined into one, with the first half serving as the prologue with Sarah as the lead character, and the second half introducing Joel, Ellie, and the rest of the major group whom we will be following throughout the entire episode. Other scenes, like Tess speaking with Robert before being blown up, feel like they could have been completely taken out of this to minimize bloat, while some scenes are literally beat for beat identical to the games, namely one involving Sarah and Joel on the sofa with the watch. Although HBO's adaptation is off to a strong start, it's still far too early to judge. The true test will be if the show can keep up this level of fidelity to the original material when we're 4 or 5 episodes into the main plot. But so far so good. That was all from our side. We hope you enjoyed the review. We are looking forward to your comments. Stay tuned with us since we have many exciting reviews planned up just for you. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also destroy that bell icon. Until next time, see ya!